Thanks for joining me. I'm glad you're here. My name is Jarrell. I develop games for a living. Today, I'm not going to discuss Nvidia's DLSS 5. This is Nvidia's new post-processing filter. No matter what marketing lie that Nvidia CEOs and whatever their marketing team is instructed, this is a post-processing filter. So I develop games for a living, and I take game development very seriously, in that it is very important to me that I continue to improve, that I make an effort to understand more, to learn more, and to be able to do better when it comes to game development, not just when it comes to the technological side, not just the programming and the coding, but the doing, the understanding, the conceptualizing. I want to be able to understand and make games to the very best of my ability. And to that end, I can keep improving and I can keep pushing forward past my limits and doing more. And this is something that AI can't do. AI cannot understand. It cannot actually genuinely improve. It can make arbitrary modifications. And I don't want to discuss Nvidia's DLSS 5 because the topic is very boring to me. Any kind of generative AI, I find it so boring to no end. And watching Nvidia's CEO try to diffuse the situation, try to tell people they're wrong, to discuss this, has been cringe-inducing. It's been so painful physically to watch someone that's supposed to be an industry leader outright lie about their product. What DLSS 5 is a post-processing filter, and now they've implemented AI slop. And it is so boring. It is a boring topic to me. I would never, ever implement anything from Nvidia when it comes to this kind of technology at this point, because we've seen how dishonest they are. And the end result is keychain dangling. People who are not really, people who don't really care, people who are susceptible to keychain dangling, younger people, and apparently old, rich, out of touch people are susceptible to keychain dangling. And I don't want to put on a suit and discuss this topic formally, because then I would be addressing Nvidia and its CEO formally, and I have a policy where I don't punch down on children or people of significantly lower intelligence than me. So I don't ever plan on discussing this topic because it makes me cringe. It is painful watching Nvidia CEO discuss this. So instead of doing that, instead of discussing some boring, if you'll pardon my French here, this is a shitty, boring topic, right? This really sucks. So instead of doing that, I'm going to share with you something that I think is actually interesting. So outside of game development, I have a number of interests and hobbies. I think the world is so interesting. There's so much cool stuff out there. There's so much to learn and do. One of my favorite things to do is build instruments. So I build instruments to use in my game soundtracks. A lot of the music that you hear on this channel here, I use instruments that I've built myself. This is a banjo mountain dulcimer. Now the dulcimer is an instrument with 3 courses. It is typically tuned in D, A, D, but you can find them in different scale lengths, tuned in different ways. I'm pretty delighted with it. I'll give you a little sound sample here. As you see, as I pick closer to the bridge or away from the bridge here, you actually get different tone out of the instrument. That's what you would call strident. And there we go. That is a deeper, warmer timbre to it. Pretty neat, huh? As the performer, as the artist, I actually have control over the performance. I get to pick what the music sounds like through my performance. let's have a look at another instrument that I've built now, and this is quite a heavy modification here. I took an instrument that was total garbage, and I've modified it and added a resonator cone and turned it into an octave mandolin. This plays a full octave lower than a typical mandolin. I will give you a sound sample here, and this is very rare in that I've wanted to purchase one and I did not see a single resonator octave mandolin for purchase anywhere. I had not seen evidence of one, and I thought, I want to create a sound as an artist, as a creator. I want to create sounds that are interesting to me, that inspire me, that allow me to think differently as an artist and to share something interesting with people. I can show people this instrument, I can play music on this instrument for people, and I can give people an interesting experience because I've created something that is the end result of my experience, my ability, my wisdom, and it results in something that is interesting. This resonator octave mandolin really does have an interesting sound to me. It's hard to pick it up with the lapel mic here. This is the result of me thinking of something and then creating it. That's what artists are spending their entire lives to do, is to think of something, to use their life experiences to be able to create it, and then to create it. And to be able to do that is very special. That takes a huge amount of work. I'll show you another instrument that I think is quite unique. I didn't want to spend like $6,000 on purchasing one, so I just built one myself. This is a 12-string banjo. I am delighted with how this has turned out. This took a significant amount of work, but I will share the end result with you, and this is what it sounds like, a 12-string banjo. What do you think? Pretty gnarly, right? And that is so exciting to me, to be able to think of something and then to be able to create it. And to do that is so satisfying. One of the most important things about life that people generally won't discuss is that it is the act of doing, of understanding, of knowing and experience. That is what gives your life meaning, what gives your life value. And the more that you do, the more you understand, the more experience, the more genuine value you'll feel out of your life, and you'll feel a sense of fulfillment by being able to just do things, to be able to understand. And I find that really satisfying, and it's so irritating and frustrating that all of these big CEOs are trying to basically devalue humans. They're trying to say humans aren't valuable, we don't need humans anymore, we just plug it into AI. And it's so frustrating because all we get is a not even minimum viable product. What we get is garbage. People use the word slop, but it is less than a minimum viable product, but it is keychain dangling. And That's what CEOs are pushing for. And the reason why CEOs are pushing for that is because they want more money. And if they can fire people and say that a machine can do your job, even though it can't, they just say that it can. It's a lie. As we see Nvidia CEOs just lying and lying, and all these CEOs are lying and saying these machines can do your job. Well, that's that's obnoxious, and they're just devaluing humans, and it's so irritating having to see that. This is the last instrument I'll share with you today, and this is the rarest one. I can guarantee you've not heard one of these before. I created this myself. Again, this instrument consists of 8 strings. This is a banjo, but it is a Mando cello. So this is a Mando cello banjo, and is tuned C, G, D, A, and I'll share that sound sample with you now. Again, that's a Mando cello banjo, and I enjoy creating these instruments. I enjoy performing, going around and playing music for people, and I would really not like it if I were performing somewhere and all of a sudden a sound mixer guy said, oh yeah, well, I'll just put a filter over your instruments. I'll put a filter over your, whatever this, so it sounds more high definition. It sounds more like, the most popular banjo. The most popular banjos sound like this, so I'll put a filter over that and make it sound like that, and I'll just modify whatever music you're playing and put a filter on it so that it sounds like the top 10 most popular music. Well, I don't give a shit. I don't care what the most popular thing sounds like. This instrument, AI doesn't know what this instrument is supposed to sound like because I've made this. This is my creation, and it would really tick me off if a mixer said, if the sound guy said, I'll just put a filter, I'll modify it so it sounds, high definition or whatever. I don't care if it sounds like high definition. That's not how I'm playing the music. That's not how my instrument is supposed to sound. When I perform somewhere, I want the music to sound like how I'm playing it, because that is my choice as an artist. That's my decision for the music to sound like that. So I hope this has been interesting to you. I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at these instruments. I'm going to avoid discussing topics that I think are just boring and that make me cringe, because I don't really care about the algorithm at all. And I know that that's what YouTube wants, but I'm just going to discuss stuff that I think you guys will enjoy and have fun with. Okay, if you had a favorite out of one of these weird, crazy instruments, let me know which one you thought was neat. Take care, everyone. Thanks for spending some time with me. I'll see you around.